The VLOOKUP function is an extremely useful function and relatively straightforward to enter. Well, first of all, what does it do? Simply put, the VLOOKUP function looks up a piece of information, for example, region 1 here, in a table like this. When it finds the matching row, it returns or gives as an answer information from one of the other columns, for example, the name of the regional director. It can also look up numbers. For example, it can look up the location's total sales in this table and get a rating. For something like this, the likelihood of an exact match is extremely low, so VLOOKUP finds the next lowest match instead. So how does it work? Well, let's try it and see. First, we'll click on the cell where we want the answer, then type equals VLOOKUP parentheses. Notice the pop-up that appears. It tells us that the VLOOKUP function needs 4 pieces of information, or arguments, to do its job. We'll now go through them one by one. First is the lookup value, meaning the thing we want to look up. Well, that's the region here in cell C4. So we can type that or click on the cell and have Excel put it in. I'll click on it. Now we'll type a comma and go to the next argument. This is the table array. That means the table where we're going to look up the value we entered in the first argument. So we'll highlight this little table here, not including the headings, notice, and then use our Excel introduction skills to lock it or make it an absolute reference so it won't change when we copy it. We'll do that by pressing the F4 function key. So we highlighted it and we pressed the F4 function key to make it an absolute reference. By the way, notice the data to look up is in the first column of the table array. It has to be there or the function won't work. Okay, let's type another comma to go to the third argument, the column index number. This is simply a number telling VLOOKUP which column in the table array has the answer we want. So let's see. The first column is the region, the second is the region's sales goal, and the third is the regional director. So we type a 3 for the third column. All right, one more to go, so we'll type one more comma. This is the range lookup argument, and for this we have to tell VLOOKUP whether to look for an approximate match or an exact match. We actually do this by answering the question, is an approximate match okay? Well, this time it isn't. We need an exact match, but we don't say no, we say false, which in this situation means no. An approximate match is not okay. If it were okay, we would have said not yes, but true. So true would mean an approximate match is okay, and false means to find only exact matches. To recap, we typed equals VLOOKUP parentheses. Then we put in the cell reference for the data we're looking up, typed a comma, highlighted the table where we're going to look for it, and pressed F4 to lock that cell reference, typed another comma, told it where to get the answer, column 3 this time, one more comma, and entered false, meaning no to approximate matches. That finishes the function, so we can close the parentheses, press Enter, then go back to that cell, point at the fill handle, and double-click it to fill it into the rest of the column. Now let's try an approximate match. As before, we'll click where we want the answer and type equals VLOOKUP parentheses. This time we'll click on B4, where the sales total is. We'll type a comma and highlight this table array this time, and press the F4 function key again to make it absolute. A quick note about the lookup values. When you're looking for exact matches, they can be in any order. Our regions are sorted in ascending order because I wanted to be tidy, but they don't have to be. However, since we'll be looking for approximate matches this time, our sales levels have to be sorted in ascending order or we will not get the right answer. Moving on, we type another comma, and this time enter a 2 because the rating description is the second column in our table array. Finally, we need the range lookup argument. We need an approximate match this time, so we enter true. Actually, notice how this one is in square brackets in the pop-up tip here? That means we could leave it out, not even typing the comma, and Excel would assume we wanted an approximate match by default. But since we're still getting used to VLOOKUPs, I'm going to put it back in even though I don't have to. Finish the function like before, close the parentheses, press enter, then go back, point at the fill handle, and double-click.